Skye Ostreicher walks into a bar. What is she ordering to drink?
Clearly, I'm ordering this unicorn cocktail.
I mean, clearly, because I feel like this is in the embodiment of you. She's beautiful, she's strong, and I don't think that you could drink out of anything else but a unicorn cocktail.
Yes.
And you had the unicorn cocktail here when you first came to Champagne Problems.
Yes.
Unicorn, she comes with our vodka. We have this, a friend of mine, he makes these labels for us so that it's a custom
So pretty.
Champagne Problems, a little bit of lime juice, a passion fruit puree that we make in-house with a little bit of cinnamon. And then this is the passion fruit monin that we use to sweeten it up. Unicorn, she's strong, but she's sweet. After a couple of her, brings me back to like Vegas cocktails where after a couple, you're really feeling it. And you didn't think you felt anything because it tasted so good, but that's what the unicorn is about.
And it's fun to hold that ceramic cup.
This cocktail is actually called You Can Lead a Unicorn to Champagne. So you know the phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But if you lead a unicorn to champagne, she will drink it all. So cheers. Cheers to a couple of unicorns getting together. Yeah, see?
Cheers.
See, like how fun is that, right? Like already it's more fun than just vodka and some passion fruit.
Yes.
So yeah,
Thank you. Cheers.
Skye Ostreicher, welcome to Now We Sip Champagne. And today we are sipping on our unicorns, talking about making things stylish, talking about making things fun. And can I just say what an honor it is to have you here. We have only known each other for a short time. Ariel introduced us, but it goes like that, and especially in New York. And, just knowing a little bit about your history and knowing how important it is to network and to connect like-minded individuals and the magical things that can happen. So I wanted to get you on to the podcast. And while what you focus on isn't necessarily maybe food and beverage hospitality, I think that these things blend. And I think that the stories are very similar, even though the fields may be a little bit different.
Totally.
So thank you so much for being here. And you're looking gorgeous, babe.
Thank you. And so are you. And I dressed really fun for you.
I dressed like this for you. I did. I was like, because I'm usually, I was like, what do I have that's political, I guess you could say. But let it be known that once upon a time, I was always suited up. I used to work for the Yankees. Every day was a suit. But I would custom make my suits because I didn't want just like a boring suit. So I would put like the emblem in, or I would put like a Yankee tagline. Like I have an entire wardrobe of custom New York Yankee suits of when I worked there. And then I also worked at a hedge fund where everything was like suited up. And the funny thing is like I will eventually get into politics. I know that that's going to be the path for me. And the only reason why I would have any hesitation is because I don't want to dress in boring ass suits all the time.
Nor do you have to.
No, and you are definitely someone that is showing everyone that you don't have to.
Yeah.
That style and it's so crazy because I think that maybe there's some separation, but man, politics, fashion, art, all of these things, they blend so much and they're so important to one another. Okay, so let's get into that, and let's get into exactly why you felt that fashion should be braided in with.
It goes back, like even being here at Champagne Problems. That's when I first met you. Ariel took me here and I was just completely blown away. The place, you can't be in here without smiling ear to ear because there's so much to look at and it's so impressive. And then meeting you and hearing a little bit about your story, it's just to the nth degree. It's totally a maximalist place. It's a lot of fun having the drink of the unicorn. It's a memorable experience. And it's not like any other experience that anyone might have had out in nightlife or at a restaurant or at a bar. So, and that's a type of experience that can be brought to politics, an out-of-the-box experience. And even if you look at the simplest example of our new mayor who just won, Zoran Mamdani, he won utilizing social media in a way that no other person running for public office ever utilized before. He was doing things that maybe people of the past would have deemed silly or ineffective, and look what he was able to do. And I think that's part of being authentic to who you are, dressing how you want to dress, and it brings people in, and at the very least, it's a conversation starter.
Yeah, and I feel like we're given these five senses, and maybe once upon a time you went to a bar and you sat and you taste and you drink your drink and you have your moment. But I have always been about. I mean, if you don't, I was born and raised in Vegas, right? So like being born and raised in Vegas and like raised in an actual casino, people go there to mentally check out for a minute. And how important that is to go to a place where you don't have to think of your day to day, because our day to day is filled with so many to-dos. I have to. And so you need to make sure that you factor and you fit in the I want tos. And so you want to go to Vegas, you want to rage, you want to dress up, you want to get drunk, you want to meet a stranger, sleep with a stranger, you want to do all these things, you want to gamble, you want to just like let loose and let your brain take a break from all the have-tos. And, it's really important that we do this. And I am always been about like an immersive experience that, yes, my venues, you're going to have a cocktail, but you're going to do other things. You're going to take pictures. You're going to have a photo shoot. You're going to, see a giraffe. Like, why not? Like
Right.
Vegas, you see
Right.
a pyramid and then a lion's mouth and then the Statue of Liberty and then the Eiffel Tower and then, the Bellagio and the water fountains and then you got Treasure Island and the Pirates. So like, you can't blame the kid. You can, you can take the Vegas out of the girl, but you can't take the girl out of Vegas or whatever that is. So, yeah, I've always just, that's how I was raised. That's what I came up with is having fun. It's a word that it can pack a little punch or it can pack a big punch, but I feel like it's so important now more than ever. And speaking in a landscape where, politics have never been in our living rooms, I feel like more now than ever. As in, I feel like that really changed when Trump first came about,
Yep.
right? Because politicians were always kind of like up in the cloud. Like you kind of knew they existed and okay, someone's running and okay, someone's doing something. And then Trump kind of came in and then Trump being Trump, went from reality star to the president.
Yeah, whether you loved him or you hated him, you started paying attention.
You started paying attention. And, a lot of people, they were really surprised. I'm like, I'm not surprised by this. I used to take care of Trump, but he's always been the same guy, very loud, very crass, very, very Trump, honestly. But I feel like if anything, we can definitely talk about the negatives and the positives. We can talk about these things, but he put politics in the room and to a generation that never paid attention, I feel like, to it, right? And that's the way it was kind of designed was like, all right, don't really vote, don't vote. Nobody really got out to vote. You've never seen people get out to vote more. You've never seen people more passionate about it. You've never seen people more involved in politics than you have now. And it took someone as loud as Trump to be like, hey, like this is what's going on.
And it's part of the way he explains things. It's like fifth grade level explanations of things. He's not reading the policy brief and the memo that someone drafted. He just looks in the camera and just tells it like it is using the vocabulary words that he has. And everyone seems to understand what he's talking about. Again, whether they love him or they hate him, it's just very easy explanation.
It's very relatable to easy...
A wide audience.
A wide audience, yeah. Sometimes breaking these things down because... there's a language. Politicians speak a certain language. In any sort of business, there's a certain language. Like I worked in finance. That's a different language. You talk about you see some of these accounts like I love Dow Jones. I'm sure Mrs. Dow Jones, you follow her as well.
Yes.
She'll break down finance in a way where it's like A plus B equals C, where it's not so like difficult.
Right.
And so you want to make these things relatable to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just keep it to the people that went to school for politics, that studied politics, that, made it their passion. Like, otherwise, you're not really getting all of America. What about the laborers? What about the people that work every single day that don't have time to read and catch up and make this what they're doing? So, yeah, just make it feel a little bit more human.
Right.
Make it feel a little bit more relatable.
Right.
Someone that you could talk to about it. So this is what I loved about that. Obviously, on the other side of that, a lot of anger, I feel
I know,
like.
there's a lot of anger. So what I like to do is what you referenced before is lightening it up, just humanize it.
Yeah.
So there was this big conference in Puerto Rico. You would like this story. Somos, this big conference with 3,000 different people involved in New York politics and government go down to Puerto Rico for 4 days the day after Election Day.
This sounds like a good bar joke. So keep it going. Okay, go. Okay. Yeah.
I know. So beyond the fact that people are very always like, what do I wear? What do I wear? Because it's like 95 degrees and humid, but you're in professional environments with the mayor, the governor, and everyone in between.
Yeah.
You want to dress for Puerto Rico. So
Yeah.
if it's okay for the men to wear, they call them that Dominican, the linen Dominican.
The linen. That's where
shirt,
I'm going with the media. Yeah.
You know, and they have, some of the men had like a
The
cigar.
tree, right. The Tommy Bahama look. I know, yeah.
Like if the men can walk around with a cigar, if government officials can walk around with cigars in their pockets, like what can the women wear?
A beautiful dress.
So everyone started asking me, like, DMing me on Instagram, like, what are you packing for Puerto Rico? What do I wear for Puerto Rico? So a couple years in a row, I did like Get Ready With Me or Let's Pack for Puerto Rico or an Instagram Live to go through my suitcase of what I'm wearing for Puerto Rico. But that's not the funny story. The funny story is this year I rented a presidential suite at one of the host hotels. So I had this gorgeous room. It was totally beautiful, kitchen, living room, everything, 2 bathrooms. And I said, I'm going to host a party in my room, and I'm going to invite just a few people, and I want to have a bouncer at the door. So I reached out to someone in hospitality in the space here who has a friend who has a cousin in Puerto Rico that says he can be your bouncer at the door. I bought an earpiece online on Amazon with a little radio, walkie-talkie, and we had like 50 people in the room. We had the bouncer standing outside keeping a list, and the entire rest of the conference, everyone was talking about the private party in my room with the bouncer outside. But it's really like just being creative. Instead of doing a normal run-of-the-mill cocktail event like everyone does in Puerto Rico, where they slap their name, they slap their logo on, everyone comes. Some people want to be there, some people don't want to be there, some people are just coming for free drinks. This was like a dedicated speakeasy
this
style.
Was the Skye Club.
Like
this was the Skye Club. I feel like this was a members only Skye Club, and again, you gave them that experience, that one little factor that kind of changed it. Listen, you put that mic on, you get that door guy, something's happened. Listen, don't tell me about door guys. I know all about.
It's not what normally happens in a political environment.
Better than that. Hello, my name is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
thinking outside the box.
You know, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, but you already kind of covered it, is how you feel that politics and hospitality blend, or the effect that they have on one another, which I have my ideas as to how that happens. But as you can see, because I always say that, within these 4 walls, this is where life happens. And only in food and beverage is where all walks of life come together. The doctor, the stripper, the hooker, the politician, everybody comes together for food and drink.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. We all want to eat. We all want to drink. We all have a good time, And, me being in the bar business and, people that are sober, and that's fine. But like drinking is a culture. It's a lubricant. It's something that it connects people that wouldn't maybe necessarily connect. And, amazing things happen over a good drink or a good meal. So
totally.
Yeah. So this is how I feel that, politics and hospitality, they do go hand in hand.
Totally. And from even having a space, it's like you have to deal with getting your liquor license. That's a state entity. You have to deal with the Department of Buildings to get any permitting that you need, right? Contracting. Then once the place is open, you want the place to be safe when it's outside, when people leave here late at night. That's who's your local council member. Do you know your local police precinct? These are all things that are locally controlled. Is your garbage picked up? Are there enough lights on the streets? That's all like things that you have to be concerned about locally. It's not anything the president or the governor even necessarily that could impact. It's really who your local council member is, who's on your community board. So that's definitely how politics and hospitality come together.
Honestly, I did not even think of that until you just said it, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right because, I was on the community board 8 and knew how important that was. I'm very close with the 19th precinct. I knew how important that was when I opened my first place on the Upper East Side. But you're absolutely right. It's these government entities and, yes, local and state that you need to play ball with in order to open up a business. So I can't just open up a bar without government.
Right.
So, again, they go hand in hand in that way, behind the scenes, front of the scenes, and all of these things are very important. And I feel like, I remember when I first approached the community board for my first liquor license on the Upper East Side. And the Upper East Side has always been historically predominantly more of a quiet neighborhood. We know that. I lived up there. We kind of know how it operates. And I had to go to the board meeting, and I was denied. And it was one of the members that said, we don't want liquor near ice cream because then it's going to be around the kids. And I'm like, no, that's, you have to come with a business plan. You have to show them your operations. You have to let them know. And I said, absolutely not. Yes, well, we have this ice cream shop where kids will be welcome. We have this secret door where everyone is ID'd. Not a single person will get through. It's a separate entity, but I was denied on that preliminary board. So when you're denied on that preliminary board, then you have to go to a full board meeting, 40 members. You have to approach them again with an even harder. And if you get a no, you get a no. Because if you don't get it at that level, then they don't recommend you to the state. You can go around them, but you don't want that. And you certainly don't want to start off your relationship
making enemies, correct.
Yeah. And so I did. I approached the full board and obviously gave them my story and, my background and me being an Upper East Sider, me not wanting to put the speakeasy anywhere else because everyone was like, take it downtown. It's like more of a downtown, type of thing. I'm like, no, but I love my hood. I love my neighborhood. They don't have cocktail bars. They don't have ice cream. So you find a neighbor and you give it to them. And, knowing that I'm not irresponsible. I don't have the same types of problems with these entities that you hear all the time with the Department of Health or with the...
Right, that's another agency too, keeping clean
because
and
I like
checked.
to follow the rules, first of all, but I do my homework as well. And, when I was a consultant helping out bar owners, that's always was something that they were missing is doing that homework, that preliminary work that you need to do to understand if you're going to open up a business in a certain area, what are the rules, who are the people, how are you going to get it done, shake the hands, ask the questions, make the connections.
Right.
So, I was always like a nerd in school. So like this kind of stuff kind of just like came for me. And I understand, people have the best intentions, but it's like I said, like what we were talking about, it was that admin, it's that back of the house stuff. You have to run this business like you would run any other business. It can't just be all fun and games because at the end of it, drinking behind a bar is like the very last thing. There's so many other things that goes behind it. But
right.
So back to, I approached that full board and it was predominantly elderly people of that board.
That's who participates in a lot of community board meetings. It happens to be a lot of old people, and there has been a push relatively recently to get younger people to sit on community board meetings. But they're long and they're boring.
They're long and they're boring. It's a free position, we understand. And, I definitely know representing a lot of owners stepping into these meetings where they've never owned. They're kind of looking at this as like an extracurricular or a hobby where this is our lives. This is like our whole life. I've sat in so many meetings, sometimes though it's the owner's fault. They don't come prepared. They can't answer the questions. They don't know what ADA is, like simple things where either they were not represented properly. They, of course, like I said, didn't do their homework, or they're also just, square peg round hole. Like you have to know your neighborhood. I remember sitting in a community board meeting once where a guy wanted to open like a mega club in like a very residential area in Chelsea. I'm like, this is not going to hit. It's just not going to hit. And you found a place with cheap rent, but you're gonna make too many people angry. You're gonna be swimming upstream the entire time.
Right.
I held out for an entire year before I signed the deal on Champagne Problems, making sure that I had a venue where I wasn't gonna upset my neighbors, where having a loud DJ, loud music, like I was thinking about these things. And it wasn't until I found like the right place that I could do those things. So,
and
go ahead. Yeah. Well,
I'm thinking just tangential to what you're talking about. Business owners, hospitality owners, and community board and government are advocacy organizations like the New York City Hospitality Alliance and Andrew Ridgie. And like he has a lot of people in that advocacy group that know a lot about the details of what you're talking about, that if a business were to hook up with him or ask the advice of him, he could help them also.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, something that needs to be, some of these resources, they are out there and people just don't know.
Yeah, you have to know.
You have to know. I've been asked, quite a few times to kind of make some sort of like, package welcome, like this is the steps, something that I considered for new business owners. Yeah. It's something that, like I definitely like to help as much as I possibly can. There is a lot to know, but it does take a lot of that like homework and that like that Skye time in order to really know.
Well, Dinah Shaw Gross is the Commissioner of Small Business Services, and she's a lot of fun. And I will say that city agency is the only city agency with its own jingle How
Oh,
cool is that?
that is cool.
SBS for NYC. And they have a phone number, and they all did the conga line. They have a music video for the jingle.
Shit.
So that's what makes me think of it. But small business services, I wonder if they have those resources available.
I don't know, but now I need to.
Now you can
I wanna
hook up
make
with
I
her.
want to make a jingle.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
jingle, yeah.
You can't go wrong with a jingle.
Mhm.
Just ask Santa. So.
Another way to make things fun.
Yeah, I
Who would
mean,
expect a government
yeah.
agency to have a jingle?
Making things fun, making things relatable. It's the only way you're going to get everyone involved. Otherwise, you're always going to keep it very, segmented. Like I said before about politics, it was only for one demographic. Now it's for all demographics. And even if they don't have all the facts, even if they're not necessarily, right about certain things, at least they're talking about them. At least they're involved in some sort of way, making it a little bit more difficult to control everyone, calling it a democracy when it's not. Wasn't always, how much of a democracy is it if everyone's not involved? So when you do, and you find different ways to get the message across, that's what's fun. And I think we see a lot of that too with online, difficult concepts that you can make more relatable with a fun video. Like people learn differently in class. Some people are not paying attention. It's like snooze fest or whatever. And like teachers that have to get really creative to like get your attention. We got to get creative so that we get everyone's opinions, the conversations, the doors are open to have these conversations. And that's how we grow. And that's how we also keep ourselves, on top of the world that we're living in.
Right. Or at the very least, they're just aware of what's going on.
Right. Right. Because how upset can you be about things if you, don't really take the time to, just know a little bit about. And as much as I love that for people, I feel like, and I feel like you also know, it's important that we listen, but we don't let it control us and we don't let the emotions take over. Like as a business person, I say this a lot, there's not a lot of room for emotion. You have to stay strong. You have to forge forward. There's a time and place for the emotion. There's a time and place to let that, control you. But we never want to be too controlled by the emotion. And that's the one thing I don't love about the triggers that can sometimes be pulled to tug at the emotions of people and make them angry and not have them connect. Because we want people to connect, even if it's about opposing views. And of course we're going to oppose. We've always had, opposing views. If we all had the same view, what fun is that? It's like wearing the same outfit. Like, what fun is that? You want to have things that are different. It's what makes you, think and ask questions and learn and grow. So, all right. So now let's take it back to how you started, though. So you are a New Yorker, and you were starting to tell me your story about how you got into politics, but how you really launched this platform. But it started with the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
This part of the story started with the pandemic, but I actually went to college to study chemistry.
That's right. And you know what? I wanted to say that before you said it because I did. Of course, like I said, I did a little bit of the background, but you're a chemist.
Yeah.
And the things that you talk about molecules and chemistry, this is so important, when things mix together to make that right cocktail.
That's mixology right there.
It's mixology, babe.
It's chemistry.
Yeah. So
chemistry.
A couple of chemists hanging out with their unicorns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We're a couple of
that's it. You know what I mean? Cheers to our couple of chemists.
Yeah, we're chemists. You're a chemist too.
Yeah, exactly.
Bartending is mixology and chemistry.
That's right.
But yeah, I was really good at science. So I got a full scholarship to University of Miami. I studied chemistry, but I say that now I'm still practicing chemistry because instead of putting different elements together, it's putting people together and seeing who mixes together, seeing who forms a bond, and seeing who can come up with a solution.
Bond.
I know, that's you, Bond.
Oof. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonds and solutions. So it's human chemistry.
Yeah.
Mixing people together and seeing what works, what ignites.
Yeah.
But I started, this interview series during the pandemic. I was working on the Mike Bloomberg presidential campaign into 2020. And then March 4th, Mike Bloomberg drops out. And then March 13th was when New York shut down for COVID. And that's when Andrew Ridgie came up with the idea of outdoor dining during that same time.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
I was in Times Square with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were fighting for it and doing the damn thing. Oh, yeah.
And that's when I launched my first video series on Instagram called Life Before the Virus. And Andrew was one of my guests on that video series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it's a time capsule piece. It's like I reached out to every elected official I had built a relationship with because I had about 10 years working in politics and government at a lobbying firm and a PR firm. So I knew a lot of people in the industry. But I reached out to everyone and I started these Zoom interviews. And then I worked with 3 different traditional traditionally newspaper companies. And I said, no one's leaving the house to pick up a copy of your paper. But if you hire me, this is the type of people I can bring to an audience online. So I took those companies digitally. And then 2 years ago, I went out on my own, knowing that there's a niche that needs to be filled here. And it has to do with politics and personality and helping everyone get to know each other in out-of-the-box ways, through interviews, through communication, through different types of questioning to talk about issues instead of coming out at someone and saying, why did you vote this way? Or can you sign on to this piece of legislation? Instead of coming out with an ask, it's like, hold on a second. Let's take a step back and get to know each other a little bit. Why don't you come to this party I'm having? Why don't you come to this dinner I'm having? And I work with the business community in order to facilitate more of those relationships.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot, and you truly amazing stuff. Because I mean, you said it in like a couple of sentences, but what you did was no easy feat. And to see what you turned that into, obviously, style across the aisle is like,
Oh, yeah. And that's like the cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, that shit's iconic, though.
Thank
You know what
you.
I mean? Like, getting them to feel good about themselves, to dress up, to walk that walk, and to
support a local small business in the process.
Yeah. Teaching and, again, blending human beings together as the chemist that you are and humanizing. But yeah, it's just, it's the right way to go about it, is to be like, all right, let's talk to this person. Like we said, let's, like, what's your favorite movie? Like, what's your favorite cocktail? You have a favorite restaurant? Like, you're in the same city that I am. You want to be a politician in the city that I live, that I love. So let's get to know. Let's just have a little bit of a connect. And then, if you slow down for that moment, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about before, is like we're hearing, but we're not listening, or in the sense that, ask the why. Why do you feel that way? Okay, you have a view, I have a view. Why do you feel that way? Or where did you come from? And sometimes when you hear about a person's stories, which is exactly why I started this podcast, is like to hear about the stories, of the backgrounds of like how you came to be who you came to be. Once you listen to that, you're like, oh shit, you worked hard, you went to school, you had dreams, you aspired to do something, and then your life took a turn, or you took the hit, because we all took the pandemic hit. And which direction did you go?
Right.
And so to hear that, once again, we're all human, going through our lives, doing the best we can, having dreams, and wanting to achieve goals for ourselves, then it takes a little bit of that tension off of, well, you believe something that I don't, or you differ. We differ on something.
Right.
Like, because we're still all human.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what you believe, we're still all human. Same blood, same eyes, same skin. If our heart stops beating, we're all done, So it is important to remain human, because a lot of the stuff is just, you get angry about it. I remember, like, everyone with back to Trump and how angry. I'm like, he's going to be here and gone before you know it. And it's like, what's 2 years left, I think? Yeah, so it's...
But whether you like it, he's the president.
He's the president.
And
that's somebody
the way
else
it goes.
might be president that you're not into, but let's not let it completely control.
Right. So that's why something like Style Across the Aisle, where it's bipartisan, it's 30 elected officials. They're elevating local small designers from their districts, and they're sharing the runway, they're sharing the spotlight. It doesn't matter what their politics are, just for that night at least.
Yes, at least. Let's have a drink and see everyone dress up. You had Cuomo in like a New York. What was in the inside?
Gina Newman. She did a custom lining for him.
Oh my God,
she's a custom suit maker in Midtown Manhattan. We had Governor David Patterson wearing Mel Maxey from Harlem, and he did a handstand on the runway. A lot of different types of designers. And our nonprofit partner was this organization, Witness to Mass Incarceration, that takes justice-impacted youth and turns them into fashion designers. They teach them the art of tailoring, manufacturing, merchandising, and making the clothes. And some of these kids made insanely beautiful outfits for 3 different models from different cultures.
Yeah. And that's truly incredible. And we need all of that, and that opportunity to show them what they can do. And this is, the New York dream, the American dream, whatever, dream may be, but we all have these inherent talents and gifts, and we all have an artistic side to us, whether you connect to fashion or music or some sort of way. Like, I'm big into art, and I love all the expression of it. Obviously, you can see there's shit everywhere. So, but, and sometimes to give people that opportunity, again, don't know how much good is coming behind that. Like, just to hear something like that is to have a young student or somebody that maybe didn't have the opportunities now making a design and then now making it for a politician or someone that's going to be, you know, representing the country or the state is truly powerful.
Yep. And one of those models who they designed for is the only elected official in New York State who was formerly incarcerated himself, Eddie Gibbs, an assemblyman. So these kids who have had a justice impacted past now made an outfit for someone who was in their shoes at that age, and now he's in public office.
And that's like, that is so important.
That kind of storytelling. You don't read that in the newspaper.
You need to have these 101s to show the rest of the world that it can be done.
Exactly.
I remember saying this about when Obama was president, and you can feel a certain way about him as president. Policy, you can get it. And I said the best thing Obama did was show every single black girl and boy that they can be president too. That's the most powerful thing I felt like when Obama became president, is because now look, you can do it too, because that was never the case before. But once it's been done by one, it can be done by many. And he led with that. And so, you need these fighters, you need these people to come through and show the rest of the world that you can do it too, especially the underdogs, the fighters, the ones that maybe didn't always have that track for them. So to see, an incarcerated, city council person or politician to show these kids like, yeah, you can do it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can do it too. And, you can always change your course. You can always, come back from certain things. But all that stuff is very powerful and just goes into politics. And it's so much more than you believe this and I believe that. You like him. I like him. Right. I think this. I think that. I think, and it's crazy because we're in a very polarizing time. Social media is a tool for better, for worse. It's a double-edged sword for sure. It's a mind control piece. You got to be careful with it. I always talk about, like junk food, just the same way you have to be careful about eating too much junk food. You have to be careful of eating too much junk food up here as well, and to turn it off sometimes, because they know, if you let them control you, they will. You don't want to be a sheep with certain things. But at the end of it, red, blue, Republican, Democrat, we do this. Two sides of the coin, two different types of conversations. But at the end of it, we're all wanting that same goal of leading lives with the loved ones that we have, and achieving our dreams and wanting the best for our kids and our family, and it always is, no matter what. Doesn't matter what side is, family is most important to you, and what you believe in, the people that love you, love is the one consistent across the board. It's the one that doesn't belong on one side or the other. Love is throughout. And so that's why I do feel like it's really important to, this it's the same, but it's not. As a business owner, you're kind of like that person in the sky that you're the man, that they're so angry, but behind it is someone that you start small and then you get bigger and then you get bigger and you get bigger, and they forget there's sometimes there's that human being behind it. So I feel the same way about politicians. So okay, so now let's talk about so you had your Skye members only party in Puerto Rico, which I'm a little upset that I wasn't at, but now I'll know not only what to wear, but where the next party is at. So I'm going to ask you, in politics, how do you feel that industry blends and braids with the hospitality industry in food and beverage?
Well, just like you get together and you have drinks, you have appetizers, and you start having a conversation. That's the way I like to run politics, is through icebreakers, through food, through drink, through bringing people together, instead of just having a meeting to talk about policy and what is this exchange going to look like. It's really getting to know each other over food and drinks. And I like to host a lot of private dinner parties that are curated. It's just 20 people in a private room where we can share ideas. And I do a lot of these dinners at Sparks Steakhouse.
Oh, I love Sparks.
On 46th and 2nd.
Classic, yeah.
Old school red carpet floors. And downstairs they have a private room that's called the Hamilton Room. And that is the room where it happens, just like in the Broadway show. And then my company, In the Room Media. So you're in the room where it happens, in the Hamilton Room, at Sparks Steakhouse.
Yeah, so you see, these things, they go hand in hand. Like every, Steinbrenner was signing a new Yankee, he would take them to Elaine's, and that's right next to, where UES is. It was the old Elaine's. Anytime, Sinatra would get together and they would talk about a deal, I mean, these things do come together over food and drink. The conversation can be extended. I mean, I'm all for people that, maybe don't drink, but there is something to drinking, to loosening up just a little, because you want to be a little bit loose. You may tap into a creative side, or you may think of something, or you may just listen a little bit harder to somebody else. Whereas, if you're only thinking about what I have to do and I have to get home and I have to do this, but it just slows you down for a minute, and then eating something good, it gives you a conversation piece. How's your steak? How's your meat? How is this? How's the wine? And it will connect you, and then you can slow down and have another conversation. Well, how do you feel about this? And, I'm sure historically so many times where, you again tap into that human, but you appeal to someone. Maybe it's over a great scotch, maybe it's over a great cigar, maybe it's over a great red, but it allows you to connect on a different level, in a different way than just a very diplomatic, a very cold, like, let's shake hands, let's talk policy, no soup for you type of situation. So, but I think that we know, all the way back to, inception, it always started with food.
Yeah.
Right? It started with wine. It started with food. Every single culture, every single deity, it comes from breaking bread, and it's such the part of life. I mean, we can't do without. So, I think that's a beautiful way that you do that. And the next party we have, let's have it at Sparks.
Totally.
And then an after party, we'll go to first Sparks, then Hamilton, then Champagne Problems. A lot of work is going to be done at Champagne Problems, but
I know.
even more work, more fun work is going to be done at UES for Skye Scoops.
I know, for Skye Scoops.
For Skye Scoops. Oh my gosh, I love Skye
really
Scoops.
excited.
I thought I loved you before, but now I love to get the scoop.
What'd you think of it?
Oh, well, listen, I have not gotten through all of it. I get through as much as I can. I have like a list of, talk about like lists of things to do, but like I was like reading a little bit, and then I had to like edit a little bit, and then I was like reading a little bit, and then like I had to edit a little bit. But the written word, that's something, because people don't really necessarily read as much, so
Yeah.
it's nice to see a newsletter written. It reminds me of like newspapers, like talking about like people don't get newspapers anymore.
Yeah.
They don't print things anymore. So I love a good newsletter, something that you can like, put your focus on and read and learn about. So how long have you been doing that?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. And then how did you build your database to get that out there?
Contacts. People say, sign me up.
You said that in
Instagram.
something. You said that you start your day off with a networking breakfast. You
Yes.
said that. Well, I saw that on your IG. You had a bunch
Yeah.
of business cards.
Oh, yes. That
Yeah.
was another networking
Maybe it was
breakfast.
like a...
I know. I'm like out all the time, not
Yeah.
just at night, in the morning, for lunch. Like, I don't have a normal 9-to-5 job where I go into an office and I have to report to someone.
No.
It's me.
Yes.
I have to make my own schedule. So there are days when I'm out early in the morning for something, or days when I'm out late at night for something. So, yeah, that's a networking breakfast. So, yeah, when I get someone's business card, I'll ask, can I subscribe you to my newsletter? Would you like to be subscribed to my newsletter? Or I'll forward a new person my newsletter and say, if you like this, I'll subscribe you.
Yeah.
So, but I have 18,000 contacts in my phone.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing.
that's over, 12 years of running around this industry.
Yeah, I mean, networking it's back to socializing. It's back to, bars, restaurants, coffee shops, just, again, people getting together and, learning something new for the first time. And maybe, that's exactly what happened with us. We connected, and now I'm so interested to hear what you have to say. I'm like following you and learning so much about you, and like loving the way that you're putting your spin on the industry, on your industry. And like the power of networking. And I feel like, back to what we said, but it comes together in these types of venues, because like where else, is maybe at the gym, but not really. So there's, you're not going to the dentist's office and kind of like, connecting. So there's power in food, there's power in beverage, there's power in places where you can meet someone, get together, and just like have a moment to speak and talk and learn about one another.
Definitely.
Yeah. You take this person and this person, and you put them in that tube and see what happens. So do you miss chemistry at all? Do you miss like the actual what is the chart
You know,
called? The element chart?
yeah, the
Yeah.
periodic
The
table
periodic
of
table.
elements.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Do you miss that table?
You know, it used to be my shower curtain,
I
the
believe
periodic
it.
table of elements.
I believe it. Yes, I believe it. Wow, I love a little science note here. Yeah. Okay. All right, Bill Nye.
But
Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah.
Bill
Skye.
Nye, Bill Skye.
Well,
I was calling myself Skyness the scientist,
Yeah.
actually.
Love it.
And then that turned into Your Royal Skyness.
Oh yeah.
And that was during my rap career at University
Okay,
of
but like, how
Miami.
come your name's Skye? Tell us that story.
Why?
Yeah. Why was your parents' choice there?
Well, the legend goes
Yeah.
that my parents took a trip late into my mom's pregnancy. And they were joking around on the airplane, like, what will we name the baby if we go into labor on the plane?
Skye.
There you go.
That's a good story. See how we did that? See how we asked a story and, you got to ask the certain questions. So, wow. Okay. All right. But you obviously did not come out on an airplane.
Mm-mm.
But you,
And I used to hate my name because 35 years ago, that was not a known name. No one had a name like that. I felt so odd and different, like in elementary and middle school. So I hated my name. But now I don't even need a last name. It's just Skye.
Oh my God, you're just Skye. No, you're giving me what's that the pink girl, the Gemma, what was her name? I don't know, but I don't know. I was born in Vegas, so like people thought I was born in a casino. So you being named Skye is not really. We had a lot of, like Cherry was there and Cookie, and we were also everyone was strippers out there. So like Skye sounds normal to me, and I'm older than you. So, but yeah, what a beautiful thing you ended up getting. So like, thanks, Mom and Dad. Sometimes they really
awesome. And my sister's Brie, just like the cheese. It's not short for anything. It's just Brie.
Just Brie like the cheese.
Brie, Brie the cheese.
Okay, that's what does she do for a
And
living?
her middle name's Cortney.
Is it?
Yeah.
Brie Cortney.
With the U in it, though.
Okay, yeah. And see, my mother, she took the U out just to make me different. But
yeah.
So my full name is Cortney Jacqueline Radabond, but Jacqueline after Jacqueline Smith because my mother was obsessed with Charlie's Angels. And Bond is literally because of James Bond because my father's name is Joseph and he came from Syria. And when he came to the U.S., he didn't want to have an Arabic last name, so he wanted to choose something. And in the Middle East, they idolized James Bond. So he picked Bond so that on his business cards, he could put J. Bond. And he was a limo driver, so it was Bond. Joseph Bond. So I'm actually a Bond because of James Bond and then Jacqueline because of Charlie's Angels. So it's, again, thanks to Mom and Dad.
Great story.
Yeah, that one, they did okay there, I guess. So, yeah, because people they always say that to me, like, no matter what. They're like, Bond, like James? I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, can't get around it. So, okay, Skye, yeah, and it's Skye Scoops and Skye, and the sky's the limit. I mean, there's so many ways to go with it, so really a good choice there. Okay, so now what are you working on? What's next for the Skye? Because if the sky's the limit, what's on our list of things to do here?
Well, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
But if we're thinking about big, fun things, it's really style across the aisle. I don't know if you know the story of Thanksgiving and how it became a holiday.
Tell me.
I'll tell you. There was this woman, Sarah Josepha Hale. She was known for fashion and culture. You know the story? This happened around the Civil War time. She was a female that started writing, and she created a publication, and that's when women weren't voting or reading, so it was a big deal that she was looked to. Anyway, she created this concept of all the states, it was right before the Civil War, she wanted everyone to get together and bond over food and drink with this idea of Thanksgiving. So she went to each governor at each state, wrote them letters, and advocated for this holiday of Thanksgiving.
And didn't she make it into, didn't she sew it into something to make it? No, I'm thinking
it's probably part of the story. She involved fashion. Let's throw it in there.
No, okay, go on.
But the holiday actually ends up being created right around the time of the Civil War because of that division that the country was facing. And she was able to create this national holiday for everyone to celebrate it on the same day at the same time instead of everyone doing it at different days at different times per state. It was created to bring us together.
So wait, you're telling me that a babe was behind it all? Whoa.
Right? I know.
Isn't that always how it kind of goes?
Exactly.
Okay, so...
but it's idea of unity, and I think Style Across the Aisle is that going into 2026, really ramping up to do not just a fashion show, but to do civic engagement and education through that fashion show by involving different types of industries as we grow Style Across the Aisle.
And do you find, I mean, is your path, are you going towards a specific position in politics, or do you feel like one day Skye's limit is going to be president, or
No,
no, that's not
no,
for you?
no, 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 no,
No?
no. I really like bringing people together. So however I can do that best, and right now what I'm doing is working pretty well.
So you're kind of like the Martha Stewart of politics. You're kind of bringing people together, talking again. I mean, and I go back to Martha just as a business person, but always talking about the importance of a host. This is like, going back to bringing people together. She was the one that started this idea and then obviously turned it into business after business after business. But, I still stay in this industry because I do love bringing people together. I'm a behind the scenes person, like by nature. Like I want to build it, I want to create it, and I want you to come in and have the best time. I'm not necessarily the one that's hosting, like I said, I'm more back of the house, but it is this idea of still bringing people together. I like to bring people together, to have them like I said, take a break, think a different thought. So you bringing people together, for some fun, for some fashion, continuing to, humanize them and make them, I don't know, I guess make it more fun.
My favorite thing ever is when I know two people that don't know each other and I know they have something in common and I know they're going to hit it off, and bringing them together. And I can do that in the political, government, business world. Knowing that someone's an advocate or in the private sector or working in a nonprofit sector and a legislator that happens to be working on something in that arena or is an expert or has a degree in data science, and we're going to meet with this advocate in the justice space, and bringing those types of people together that don't know each other already.
So you're a political matchmaker.
Yeah, it's a political...
You're a human matchmaker.
Human
not necessarily for,
not for romantic
not
purposes.
for romantic, but for relationship
for
purposes.
societal purposes.
Yeah, for societal purposes, because, I mean, listen, just like a good agent is going to bring things together, I talk in terms of like a coach, putting the right players in place. When you do that, then you can win the game. If you know where to put this one and that one, and they can work together, they can play off of each other, they take their strengths and their weaknesses and, turn it into something better. So, yeah, this human exchange, being this person, again, being this human chemist that you are, goes right back into it. Is I'm going to take a couple drops of you and a couple drops of you, put this together, and then, you have something miraculous. So,
and then it's knowing what community needs to hear what message, because, everyone understands things differently. Like there was this assemblywoman running on Long Island in this Republican area. She was running as a Democrat. She was very into the environment. And she said to me, if I go to my community, which is a conservative community, and I talk about climate change, they've had it with me. But if I go to them and I talk about coastal flooding, they're paying attention. So it's not only who can connect with who, it's about what the message is to each type of community.
Yeah, that's very important. It's, kind of like understanding the algorithm. You have to understand the algorithm, right? Like, who's your audience? Who are you speaking to? How can you engage new audiences? Like, we talk like this now. We talk about algorithm. We talk about new people, new followers, or whatever it is. But it is being able to change and getting the message across in different ways. One way is not going to work. One thought is not going to work. So it really is important to have someone to bounce ideas off and to ask, to think tank as to, all right, I want to get this message across, but this is how I have to do it, or this is who I have to do it with. So essentially like a coach as well is what you're doing. You're coaching, you're connecting, and, it's really powerful. And I feel like, you should be doing this, and I think you will, on the largest of scales. Like next up, we should get the presidents to walk down.
Nah, local, like we were discussing before.
All right.
The things that impact your day-to-day life are local politics, local agencies. Everything's local. That's what impacts your day-to-day life.
Yes, that's true.
Local leaders.
That's true. Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like, the separation of local, I mean, because then why should we care about something bigger that's not local? If local is the only thing that really does impact, which is true, and people don't know anything really local.
They don't know anything.
No,
they already care a lot about who's president. They pay attention to the debates. They love making fun of Trump or championing Trump on social media. It's working. I think everyone will vote for president. Right. Everyone talks about when the presidential election is. It's 4 years. People are paying attention to that. Yeah. But no one really knows what's going on the ground here. When you walk around, or when people come to Champagne Problems and you survey your clients here, your patrons. What do you call them?
The guests.
Your
Our
guests.
Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
When you
Patrons.
survey your guests here, do you know who your council member is?
Oh yeah, they don't know. No. Nobody
Right.
knows them. I remember Adams. He was saying that we were at a like a roundtable meeting for nightlife, and a lot of the owners they had qualms, issues with things, and he just kept reminding them, that's at a state level. That's at a state level, or like reach out to you. Yeah, it is designed like that. People don't really have, and I feel like that's actually something now that I'm thinking about it. Like, when I opened a new business, I had to ask a lot of questions. It wasn't afforded to me who was what. You do have the hospitality lines that will help, but again, like if you don't know they exist, how do you know they exist unless you actively search them out or find them? But certainly knowing who to go to for what, who's really controlling things. And I think you're right. Going back to that's why we do spend a little too much time worrying about things that don't have a direct effect on our lives. We should pay more attention to the people that have the daily effect on our lives, or the people that could truly change something for our local business, for our day-to-day, versus something that's so high in the sky, in the clouds, that maybe is not gonna help us, because then it's too much of a distraction, not enough action, I feel like. So, yeah, okay. Well, all right. So let's bring it back a little bit to your New York life. Let's get into a little bit of bar and restaurants. Give me a couple of the places that you've had some like amazing cocktails or some amazing meals.
Well, my favorite place is Champagne Problems, which we're sitting in right now. And I'm not just saying it because I'm here with you and because you created this place. I mean, it's a magical place.
I did not pay her to say that, guys. This is not a paid for advertisement. So, I mean, thank you so much, because, like,
there's nothing like it.
Yeah,
I remember when next door used to be Vandal.
Yeah,
when the Tao Group
I
opened
remember.
Vandal.
Yeah, Vandal. Yes, we all did that purple rabbit picture.
Yeah.
We all have the purple. I got very drunk at Vandal and bought a $20 cactus, a yellow cactus. I named her Purple. I loved her for years. And because remember, it was the little plant shop to get in.
That place was cool.
Yeah.
This place is cooler. That place doesn't exist anymore. And the place I miss most is Bagatelle.
Girl, it's coming back.
No way.
Oh, we will be at the opening of Bagatelle. Way. They are coming back.
When?
I don't know. I follow the Bagatelle guys. It's something like coming back. Don't worry. They'll be back. We will be there.
For the brunch party.
The brunch party.
With the velvet curtain shut.
No one is talking about Bagatelle other than, this is how long it took for us to get here. Let's go right now, because I am telling you. Have you been to Maison Close?
No, I've heard about it.
Oh, I'm taking you there too.
Okay.
It's at night.
Is it as good?
It's as good. It's
at
not
night.
The brunch. It's at night. But I know, me
too.
Listen, the best memories I have are of that. You go for brunch, everything's white and light, and the sun is out, and then all of a sudden
the velvet curtain shut,
swoosh,
the music gets loud,
and then
the sparklers, the Superman flying through the crowd.
You have those fishbowl drinks
with a million straws,
and the cookies and the milk. I mean, and the reason why I loved it so much is because nothing reminded me of home more than Bagatelle.
Because it was Vegas.
Because it was Vegas. Fuck, you were so drunk on a booth, and like it was wild, and you're like, like all the things that are like, I've had people like, what's going on in here? But like, that's what's going on in here. And you can see it's been like, I don't know how long it's been since Bagatelle, maybe 7 years.
Yeah, they closed before the pandemic.
Yeah, and so like, but you see, those are the types of memories that stick out forever.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be, in our 60s, 70s. Remember that time I got drunk at Bagatelle?
Yeah.
Remember the time that curtain closed? So that's why, why I am adamant about creating these spaces where these memories are loud.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we all go through our lives. We all make our choices. We all have our things to do. We all make our connections. But at the very end of the day, you sit in a chair, you lay in a bed, you kind of wait to die. And all that you're left with is your memories. You can't take any of the shit that you accumulated in your life. You can't take any of that. All you're left with are the memories. And so you have to make the memories loud to play and repeat in your head. The ones that really just let you relive your life and the connections that you made, those memories. So that's kind of at the base of why I create like this over-the-top experience, because a bar can just be a slab of wood and a beer on tap, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you may make a connection and you may have a very special moment there. But yeah, I like shit loud. I like it. And speaking of club brunch, that is the one thing that I'm programming for 2026 is the club brunch of Champagne Problems. Oh yeah, on Sundays. I want it to be wild. I mean, you saw the place. You know that I want you in the coupe glass. I want you on the booths. I want you hanging from.
Count me in.
Oh yeah. You're gonna be there. The sky.
And we'll invite some political personalities and see who loosens up.
Then I guess I would ask you a little bit. The last thing I would ask you is a little bit of advice that you would give to somebody that's stepping into the political arena. It can be intimidating. It can be scary. What would you say? Because you carved out this entire like career and niche for yourself. Something I feel like really wasn't done before, and you have to be brave in order to do that. And politics can be heavy. They can be heartbreaking. So what advice would you give to somebody that wants to step into that arena?
To get to know the political personalities. I have 700 different interviews you could watch with these different people, but I'm always happy to talk to someone and give advice as to where to point them. But there's so many great advocacy organizations to join depending on what industry you're in. And out of our 51 council members and all the different agency leaders right here in New York City, everyone is a human at the end of the day. They're passionate about something. So their title might not reflect something that you could Google and think that you'll have something in common with. But if you get to know the people behind these titles, then you really might end up finding an ally in a place where you never thought you could.
Yeah, definitely. I think titles aside, and then remember that behind those titles, there's still a human being, and make that extra effort to get to know, and then that connection can take you very far because it's connection that takes you places. And I feel like I've said this too many times, but it's like far alone, further together, and
Yeah,
it's the more you know.
right.
And basically, just be a chemist. I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers to chemistry.
Try to find your
Cheers to
inner chemistry.
Yeah, try to find your inner chemist, your inner unicorn, bring them together.
Yeah.
Your cocktail chemistry, your human chemistry, just, like be a chemist, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cheers.
that's it. Cheers.
Sky's the limit.
Thank you.